everyone. So in this session we will go together through the students' t-distribution and the t-test. So you can find the supporting material on my webpage mystuds.online, and the data are located behind the link data. T-test is a parametric analysis of two means or two samples. And at the end of the 19th century, it was already the William Gosset, who called himself a student, who developed the student's t-distribution. And each test having this t-distribution afterwards is called the t-test. We have two major types of the t-test. The independent t-test and also the dependent paired samples t-test. So the independent t-test is performed on the two samples which are not really related to each other, and dependent one is performed on the samples which are related. So for example, the garden A measured in the morning versus measured in the evening. We will perform together the independent two samples t-test. So let's read the data, and let's save them into the object t-test. T-test and read CSV, and I have saved the data into my folder, into my documents folder. With the analytics in the format of the CSV. Let's have a look. How does the file look like? And we can see that there is saved the ozone concentration in pphm units for garden A, 10 observations, and for garden B, 10 observations. So let's say that our task is to confirm that there is a significant difference between between ozone concentration in these two gardens. So let's first prove that these two gardens are not really related to each other, that they are really independent by correlation coefficient, which is in our case 0.666, which is the medium kind of dependency. Let's call that they are let's say that they are somewhat independent. Let's have a look. How does the distribution, or how does the histogram of garden A look like, and garden B? So you can see that it is very flat. That, for example, the concentration of the ozone 3 is present 4 times in the garden A. 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then if we would plot the line, then it would be really flat, like somewhat more far from normal distribution. We can also create a box plot, which will help us to help us understand where the mean for each garden is. Let's create the object ozone. And save there the matrix garden A and garden B. And let's create 10 observations for garden A and 10 observations for garden B. So let's factorize our sample. So factor C repetition A 10 times and repetition B 10 times. Box plot, ozone, label, notch equals true. Okay, it should have also some x label and x-axis label, y-axis label, and also some color. Yeah. Okay, so we can see that the means are really different, that these notches do not overlap and that they are different. But let's confirm that also by the t-test itself. We could perform the t-test either manually or by built-in RStudio function. Let's first calculate the QT, which stands for quantile function, which is the critical value. So let's calculate our critical value at level of 0.975, which is quite good preciseness. And let's use 18 degrees of freedom because we have 9 degrees of freedom per each garden, calculated as 10 minus 1, 10 observations per garden minus 1, multiplied 2, and critical value is 2.1. So now let's calculate the t-test itself by the built-in RStudio function. T-test, garden A and garden B. You can see that RStudio is using straight away the Welsh two-samples t-test, which is more robust than the normal t-test and can work also, for example, with the data where the sample sizes are not equal and so on. And it is producing the test statistics value, absolute value 3.873, which is significantly higher than our critical value. It means that we would say that we can say that these two gardens are, that the ozone concentration in these two gardens is significantly different. That's the first identifier, and then the second one important is the p-value. We can see that it is much smaller than our critical 0.975, and this is also saying that these two gardens are significantly different. So that's it basically. You can find the data online, also the supporting code, and thank you very much for your time, and I hope you will listen next time. So the independent